I, Anisha Sharma from Kirodimal College, heartily welcome you all to SAMVAAD, the open discussion forum. As you all are aware, SAMVAAD aims to inculcate knowledge, moral values, circulation of diverse thoughts, and public speaking through the medium of interactive discussions, sessions, and debates. Therefore, we warmly welcome you all to the third session of Pratyaksh, where we will learn and participate enthusiastically. The topic of today's discussion is how global media houses created panic in the India during COVID times. Our guest speaker is Sri Shantanu Gupta ji, who is an author, the founder of Ramayana School, a TEDx speaker, and a political analyst. Now, I cordially invite Shantanu Gupta ji to take the stage.
Namaskar, Anisha. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, I'll try to. Can I share my screen? Just give me a second while I share my screen. Okay. Okay. Anisha, is my screen visible? Anyone?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
It's visible, right? Okay. Okay. So yeah. So what? Uh, I think in the start of May, I was reading from last 1 year since the Corona pandemic started that how these foreign publications are reporting on us, and many of us and I personally was not quite happy with the way they're reporting. The reportage was looking more of opinion and rather than reporting per se. So I thought, let me look deep into it, right? And I took a research instrument, and later organizer Swaraj, they published my article, which I titled "Tracing Global Panic Super Spreaders." So we heard about Corona super spreaders. I traced panic super spreaders, and BBC topped the chart, right? So my research framework was I took 6 Western publications, 3 from USA, 3 from UK, Washington Post, New York Times, and CNN from US, and BBC, The Economist, and The Guardian from the UK. Right. I took the period of 1st March 2020 to 30th April 2021. This 14 months, and I use a simple Google syntax which anyone of you can reproduce. The site and the 4 keywords: India, COVID, pandemic, and coronavirus. In these 6 sites, I got 552 results. Right? Okay, so that was one part, the quantum of it. Now, what I did, I just went through all of these 552 headings one by one, very meticulously, and I thought of these 6 categories that where these headings can fall. Are these headings fear inducing? Are they hyperbolic? Are they critical on India as a country? Are they critical or on our abilities? Are they doubting our abilities? Or they just neutral reporting? Or they praising what have we done, right? And I found some very interesting results which I want to share with this group. I think the first result is just a simple distribution. So out of this 552 news reporters by these 6 foreign publications, 50%, almost 50% was just BBC. That was quite an interesting observation, right? They have left India 70 years back, but their interest in India has not reduced. So 50% of reporting is just BBC, followed by New York Times, followed by Washington Post. So, okay, I just want to leave all of you with this fact that keep watching these 3, especially all of them, but especially these 3: BBC, Washington Post, and New York Times. They have some super special interest in India. And why are they interested in India? This is a lot of information. Try to look at it carefully, and I'll explain it. This is when I mark them under those 6 headings. Remember, I told you I marked them under those 6 headings. Are the headings hyperbolic? Are they inducing fear? Are they doubting? Are they critical, neutral, or praising? And to my surprise, 76% of all of these headings were either hyperbolic, fear inducing, doubting, or critical. Right? and very few are neutral. Only 18-19% are neutral reporting, and hardly 2% is praising. It's not that I'm an Indian, I'm a nationalist Indian, I'm looking for a praise, because India is one of the few countries which has handled corona very well. Our mortality and cases in 1 million are not even in top 80 or top 90. We are one of the few countries which has discovered its own vaccine and produced a number of it, even given it to a lot of other nations, right? Even then, there are only 2% of articles which are praising, and only 18% of articles are even neutral, which are just for the purpose of reporting. So if you see these blue bars, right, there are hyperbolic news, right, which is hyperbolic. I'm sure you understand the word, which is blown out of proportion. All the orange bars is just fear inducing, all the green bars are just doubting, or the yellow bars are just critical, right? And apart from BBC and WAPO, Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, The Economist, and The Guardian, there is no blue line, meaning they did not find anything which is worth praising in India, right? So this was quite intriguing for me, that 76% of their headlines were just hyperbolic, fear-inducing, doubting, or critical. Meaning their purpose was not just to report. Their purpose was not just doing neutral reporting. Their purpose was to mislead people, right? One more observation which I found was, I divided these 14 months into 1 month of April 21, 2021, and the 13 months before that. And I found out that more than 50% for some and almost close to 50% for others, so 40 to 50% of reporting of this whole 14 years happened only in this 1 month, right? So when India was battling the coronavirus, right, what were they doing? They were just crafting these headlines. Right? And that's very disturbing. That's very disturbing, right? That they were just looking for opportunity when they can kind of do their vulture journalism on India. Now what I did, I went ahead and tried to find patterns, and how are they trying to mislead, and I'll show you some patterns. The first pattern was the first pattern was they tried to use absolute numbers, right? So when I say absolute number, I'm sure you understand, right? They're not using per capita, they're not using mortality cases per million, they're not using the positive cases per million. They're using absolute numbers and giving their judgment. So 7th September 2020, BBC headlines reads, coronavirus, India overtakes Brazil in 2000 COVID-19 cases. India will surely supersede Brazil. Brazil has a population of 20 crore. I have a population of 130 crore. Why will I not supersede? Right? Another New York Times heading read, India surpasses Italy. Italy has a mere population of 5.5 crores. Rajasthan has more population than that. India will anyway supersede Italy, right? But again, they used absolute numbers. They never used cases per million, because in that statistics, India was not even in top 80. All the Western countries were on top because they were not able to manage corona well, right? And they were under the, oh my God, how can India manage it? Okay, let me very cunningly use absolute numbers, right? On 27th April 2021, Washington Post reads, India tops with 3 lakh new cases. Same, they are not saying per capita or in per million. On 3rd of May 2021, COVID-19 with over 3 lakh cases in 24 hours, India sets a record. Right? If on that particular day, if you see per million cases, you will find India is not in top 50, not in top 80. But they say India sets a record because India has a large population, right? On 28th June, BBC headline says, Coronavirus, how Delhi wastes lockdown to become India's biggest hotspot. There was no such study that Delhi became the biggest hotspot, but unnecessarily, this is using absolute numbers. they have created this misleading headlines, right? And they were not able to put lockdown in their countries. They learned from India, then started putting lockdowns, and they were amazed like how that can happen in their country. That one prime minister speaks from TV and the whole country goes on lockdown. They were not able to believe that, right? And they were starting demonizing Indian lockdown. So that was the first pattern I found, right? That they were using absolute number. The second observation I found was they were using hyper local observation of an area, observation of a district, observation of a city or a town, and try to paint it as if it's a pan India phenomena, right? So on 3rd of April 2020, BBC headline says coronavirus India doctors spat at and attacked, meaning patients are spitting in Indian doctors and patients are attacking Indian doctors. I'm sure you can remember which headline is this. This is talking about the Tablighi Jamaat patients who misbehaved with nurses, who misbehaved with doctors. But that was a small group. That was not representative of Indian population. But if you read this headline sitting in UK or any part of the world, what will you think? Oh my God, how illiterate, how uncouth are Indian patients? They're spitting at doctors everywhere. They're attacking the doctors everywhere. This is how the generic headlines read, right? On 27th April 2021, New York Times headlines read, "This is the catastrophe in India. Illness is everywhere." For God's sake, India has 700 plus districts. Every district at that time also has its own positivity rate, own fatality rate. But for New York Times, in India, corona is everywhere. In fact, when UP government, Yogi Adityanath's government got the massive rural survey done, they got to know that in 70% of villages, there was not a single case. Not a single case. Right? In 70% of Uttar Pradesh's villages. But for New York Times, corona is everywhere. That's the way they want to create panic. These are very crafty, cunning headlines. The third pattern that I found, they use hyperbolic expressions like human tragedy, ravaging, struggling to survive. You can't even survive, you're just struggling to survive. A nightmare, no end in sight, meaning like you can't come out of it. Broke records everywhere. Let me read some headings for you, some nasty headings that they've created. On 30th March, BBC says, coronavirus, India's pandemic lockdown turns into human tragedy. As I told you before, they were not able to put a successfully lockdown in their countries. So, okay, they said, okay, we are not able to put lockdown. Let's try to pull down the countries who are able to make complete lockdown, right? So they will try to use this hyperbolic word like human tragedy. On 4th May 2020, another BBC headline read, coronavirus, how COVID-19 is ravaging India's newsrooms, meaning the media offices. And when I read the story, there are 2-3 media offices are quoted which have some 10-15 cases, positive cases, not even mortality. And they have shown as if every newsroom in India is ravaging with COVID-19. So, on drop of a hat, they used a word like ravaging or human tragedy. And on 2nd May, they were quite interested on election results in India when the election result for 5 states came, right? And Washington Post posted that very misleading headline that Modi's party loses key state election amid pandemic vote. India sees record deaths. I'm sure the some of you who follow the elections, you might have seen that BJP has retained Assam. BJP has won Puducherry, which they also might not have thought in their wildest of the dreams. They got a very good vote share in Tamil Nadu. They increased their vote share in Kerala. They increased their vote share tremendously from previous assembly election. In West Bengal, they become the principal opposition party, throwing out Congress and CPM to 0 seats, right? But for Washington Post, all that doesn't matter. Anyone who's consuming its politics based on the Washington Post news, he will get totally skewed picture, right? So let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing and let me yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm thinking you got the sense, right? So I shown you the quantum of data, right? That how they're so interested in India. Then I shown you that how their headlines are largely hyperbolic, misleading, fear-inducing, critical, doubting. Very minuscule percentages praising. Even then, when India is one of the few countries which manage Corona very well, even then when India is one of the few countries which have discovered its own vaccines, even then when India is one of the countries which have transported vaccines outside, right? India is the country which created its own ventilators, its own PPE kits, and own lot of medical equipments in this war time, if I can use this, right? Right, even then there's hardly any praising articles, right? And then I've also shown you the patterns, that how they've used absolute numbers instead of per capita numbers. They're using hyperbolic words at drop out of a hat. They've used a local phenomena happening in one district, one city, and then try to paint it as if it's happening in whole of India, right? And I'm also extending my study, and I was doing that in the time in other countries, how much they're reporting. So let's say the comparing countries can be Brazil, right? Large countries. South Africa. The reportage on Brazil is not even 100 articles in the same period, when we got 550 articles. The reportage on South Africa is not even 90-95 articles in the same period, right? So meaning in India they have a special interest. Why? Because even in these times, India was able to keep its economy stable. India was able to manage Corona very well, even with whatever infrastructure we have. India was able to invent the vaccine and vaccinate a large population fastest in the world. The first 10 crore, when we achieved, we were fastest in the world. And we still are moving the fastest rate. The West was not able to digest it. That how a country, which is for them, is still a developing country, how can they have all the tick marks which we don't have? And I'm sure you remember when Rajdeep Sardesai was interviewing Dr. Devi Shetty, a very famous doctor. He categorically said that if the same patient load were to be given to a country like US, they would not have managed it. Government has moved heaven and earth to move oxygen around. You can't move oxygen at a very fast pace because it's an inflammable gas, right? Right. And also I've seen a lot of these articles are not very high quality investigative journalism. They will quote 5 Indian articles from Wire and Quinton. So they are not doing some high degree investigation. It's a very lazy job. I will take some article from Anisha, some from Shivan, some from Vinayak, and I'll write something on more sitting in half an hour, right? That is lazy journalism. That is like opinion making without knowing anything. Let alone Delhi, let alone Lucknow. They never traveled to even Delhi. Sitting somewhere, they have wrote a big piece in Time magazine. Right? Someone like Rana Ayub is a cover page story. And Rana Ayub is the same person with the court. The court said her book is a work of fiction. I can't rule on this work of fiction. And almost thrown her out, like not literally, but metaphorically thrown the case out of the court. But same person who's so discredited in India gets a cover page credit in Time magazine with a photo of burning parts from, I think, Kashi. And the same picture was available in 23,000 rupees in Getty Images. Right? So a lot of these local journalists who you can throw some money and get an article written whatever the way you want, and then you have a source. New York Times have a source. So based on a Wire or a Barkha Dutt story or some local story which they wanted in their way, they will write a further story in a Gulf News or in a New York Times and Washington Post, right? So instead of high quality newspapers, they are becoming very low quality, lazy magazines. Magazines is opinion, right? Magazine doesn't report news. So they're not doing reporting, right? And you must be worrying that why I'm so worried about this. These are such just news. Who reads so much of New York Times, right? Who reads so much of Washington Post? You're right. If you say that, that's right. But then the Rahul Gandhi will take that snapshot and tweet it. Akhilesh Yadav will take that snapshot, will tweet it. So it will amplify. So a lot of politicians who are not in the best of their political times, who are facing flack from people otherwise, they will use every opportunity to put India down. For them, it's not. In fact, look, they have become so pessimistic that they can bash Modi. I don't mind. They can bash the government. I don't mind. But in the process, they started criticizing their own country and started putting fake news, putting by New York Times on their Twitter handle, right? And this misleading news, it's not that it's unpleasant for Indian reader. That's not my concern. Okay, let it be unpleasant. It has real time implications. I, sitting at my home, may feel very anxious reading this news. Doctors say that your oxygen level can come down by 4 to 5% just by being anxious, right? So it has real medical repercussions, right? A lot of black marketeers, as we have seen in Delhi, what's the name? Navneet Kalra or someone, right? From Khan Market. They will start black marketing when they see, oh, there's a lot of panic in public. Oh, let me black market. So it will open the ears and eyes of a lot of these black marketeers like Navneet Kalra, right? Right. And not only that, in fact, a lot of countries will make their travel advisories, make their business decisions based on this news. So these reportages have real time implications. Not only they're unpleasant to me, so that's why I'm doing all of this research. Being unpleasant is fine. That's only one phenomena. They have real time implication. Being direct medical problem, like someone can feel anxious, and I'm sure you guys must have read that how anxiety has come out as one of the major sidetrack phenomena during lockdown. Depression, anxiety, right? Because we are locked at home, we are not able to see people, right? Right. And then leading to black marketing, then travel advisories, and also at times to manage the news, even governments at times can take a hasty decision. Unnecessarily, government may take a hasty decision. A knee-jerk reaction come from any government. I'm not saying Modi government, this government, that, any government. If you have a lot of this negative news, because government have to make sure that, okay, what is being talked about their country, right? Right. And one of the worrying part is that BBC, among all these six, is state owned. I'm sure you guys know it's a government owned enterprise. It's not a private enterprise. So I think these publications have almost become a foreign policy tools for the governments, right? And thanks to Vion, I think it's a Z News channel, thanks to Arnab Goswami, who has declared Republic Global, I think, a couple of days back, that now I think it's a high time that sitting in India, and also thanks to DD International, the government is also doing. So these three and many more should come, right? Even in print, even in websites that who are just doing international reporting, sitting in India. Because currently we are consuming international information which is generated from somebody else's point of view, not from our point of view, right? Let's say if I so what Narendra Modi says becomes a front page news in New York Times. Why? When Black Lives Matters writing was happening, very ethnical writing, racial writing was happening in US, that was not a front page news in my newspapers. I was not shaming them. So I think we have to shed our goodness enough, right? There should be newspaper which is dedicated for international shaming, but there's a lot of garbage outside. How they're handling their defense, how they're in fact, recently I was so surprised that they coined this, concocted this Modi Yogi rift, and they enjoyed it for 2 weeks very nicely till the time Yogi Adityanath came and met Narendra Modi and the happy photo came. Till the time, 2 weeks, they're cooking up that story. So much so that even Gulf News wrote a story on it. Why I'm surprised? Because Gulf News reporting on Narendra Modi and national politics is fine, but now Gulf News is reporting a state level politics. So are they international newspaper or tabloids? Tomorrow they will maybe report about what is happening in KMC, what's happening in Noida, what's happening in Meerut. Like, is that is that even their mandate? Like, sitting in Gulf News, they're doing, oh, what is happening in a state, what is happening in their future elections, right? Right. So we have to see, like, are these newspapers our partner in our journey of civilization? We the Indians, right, are 1/6 of the population. Every sixth human being on earth is an Indian, right? And we are the only ancient civilization surviving. Rest all are evaporated, right? So are these publication are partners in our journey of civilizational journey, or they're hampering this journey, right, with this misleading news, right? We have to decide. I'm not saying government should be banning them. I'm not a big fan of banning anything. At times we have to take that decision also, if, because you see, if they're just putting some opinions, some calculated opinions, some news reportage, I'm fine. But if it's a foreign policy tool, I should not allow that to happen, right? For on my country, if it's just a foreign policy tool for them, because a lot of this reportage, when I've checked them, is just very low quality job, just very spicy headlines, just headlines which are, you just by reading the first two paragraphs, you'll get to know it is written for some other purpose. It is not written for reportage for sure, right? Because a basic and you know, they're not even following the basic ethics of journalists. They're entering into hospital wards, they're entering into ICU wards, hampering the work of the nurse and the doctor, where they're not even allowed. They some of them, like, parked themselves, the Indian journalists parked themselves in Shamshan Ghats, right? So that they can find the TRE person, and the TRE person can increase their TRPs. And this is not the way they report in their own country. If you remember 9/11, you all remember 9/11, what imagery you have in your mind? I only remember two towers and the plane, right? That's the only. What would have happened to the people inside? They might be like blasted, like hands here and fingers here and eyes. Did we see those pictures? And rightly so. I don't want to see those pictures, right? So in their own country, they're, because they know the people will bash them left and right. They're sensitive about this, that I will not show dead bodies, dilapidated dead bodies, right? But here, because, okay, I can, even local journalists and opposition parties will support me. This is not a country where political parties are together, and in fact political parties will feast on it. As I told you, Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav were tweeting it daily, Priyanka Gandhi was tweeting it daily, right? So they'll say, okay, the politician will feast on it and will get enough support here. They will leave all the journalistic norms, right, all the journalistic ethics of how to report in emergency. It's an emergency time, right? So they will leave all of that, which they will not do in their own country, right? So this is for me. I want it to be a two-way discussion, and I'm trying to extend this research to Indian media channels, and also to the names who has written that, what is their background, is it a pattern, are the Indians writing this news in BBCs, or are there foreigners writing, where they're writing from, are they sitting in India, are they sitting outside, do they travel, what kind of investigation are they doing, who are they referring in their newses, which other publications. So I'm trying to extend. But again, if someone of you want to join my research, do join hand. I need a lot of interns who have a sense of scrolling through news item, right? Because see, what is happening with Twitter from last couple of days, right? That is giving a signal the now onwards full-fledged wars will not happen. So apart from little bit of China, the world is not very territorial, right? China is the only one who wants little territory, I can little Hong Kong and Tibet and little Arunachal Pradesh and this Galwan Valley and all that. But largely, it will be trade wars, and it will be information wars, right? How I can impression somebody's mind. And this is the grand feeling the Googles and Facebooks and Twitters of the world are getting, that we are the one who are sitting in everybody's brain, right? If you have this phone, if this phone being a smartphone, they know everything about you. Where did you have dinner last night? They are aware. Between Google and Ola and Uber and Swiggy, 4 or 5 apps, they know everything about your movement, because you have given them almost every permission, right? My mother, who uses the tick 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 wala phone, maybe she's safe, right? She's safe. But if you have this phone where there's this 4 or 5 geographical location apps, or Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter, or all, I'm sure you all have all of these, right? I'm sure you must be having of Twitter, Facebook for sure. I'm sure you must be having Google Maps. I'm sure you must be having Swiggy or Zomato. I'm sure you must be having Ola, Uber, right? If you have this 6 7 apps, guys, leave the facade of privacy somewhere. Your life is not private for sure, right? Okay, they say the data is metadata and we don't sniff into the data, and it's only the but again, at any point they can reach you, right? So information, so when we think that everything is coming free, it's not free. They're selling your data, right? So I think the next age is data and the artificial intelligence over that data. What can be done using that data? I can find every pattern, right? I'm sure you must have seen, you just search, maybe I'll search Lucknow for something, and then it will show me a Lucknow flight and Lucknow hotel, what to buy in Lucknow next from Google. There it will say, and that's a very simple one, right? But again, from between Amazon to all the buying on the buying portals, they're all reading your behavior. They're all reading your behavior, right? And based on that, they're generating news, right? Facebook, you can target, micro target whom I want to show to, a girl or a boy. I want to show to what age group. I want to show it to which city. I want to show it to Karodimal students. I want to show it to Karodimal students who are in high income group, who are in lower income group, who parents. I can target everything in Facebook and Google, right? You very benignly will say, oh, I'm seeing it, this information generally, right? It's not generally. Someone has targeted you particularly. That's why you're seeing that news or that information or that advertisement, right? So that's why I think now, whenever you are consuming information, right, try to triangulate it from various sources, and then you get this fact checkers, right? Someone like what's his name, Zubair, Mohammed Zubair, who deleted the video, the Loni video. The fact checker said, I did not fact. What kind of fact checker are you, man? You are a co-founder of a so-called very big fact checker, Alt News, and he deleted the video after the FIR because he now the police ka danda is coming. Let me delete the video. Meaning all this while, and that was symbolizing all this while someone like Alt News was in the name of a fact checker was no fact checking, right? So I think this is the whole area I want to draw the attention of this group. Any questions are welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for that informative address. I'm sure that all of us who are present here will be deeply influenced by your meticulous findings. And now, as you said, we will be moving on to the question answer sessions. Before I invite the audience to post their questions in the comment box, I have received 3 questions and I would like to read them out to you. What is the legal and political hindrance in stopping this level of misinformation in India?
Read it again. What is the what of what?
What is the legal and political hindrance in stopping this level of misinformation in India?
See, political is that I'm sure you must have seen, as soon as that FIR was filed on Mohammed Zubair, Rana Ayub, Sabah Naqvi, the whole world was, oh my God, freedom of expression. Where is this country going? Journalists can't even write. And my counter on all the channels was, journalists can write, but they cannot have the right to misinform. They cannot. You can't say I should have the right to for rumor mongering, right? What kind of right is that? That I should have a right to spread rumor, right? So the whole this freedom of expression bogey, right? That's being one. Legal is that, see, these guys are very crafty in their headlines, right? They try to be at the verge of legality. They try to be at the verge of legality. Their information is not wrong. The information is misleading. India did have 3 lakh cases. India did surpass Brazil. But that's not an apple to apple comparison, right? India will surpass Brazil because India's population is 6 times, 7 times of Brazil, right? So now, for a misleading, for a crafty, for a cunning information, there is no law per se, right? So they are also very smart people. It's not they don't know it, right? So they're trying to play between the lines. So that's why I'm saying user has to become far more smart rather than in the framework of legality or in the framework of politics, right? But again, yeah, all the left-leaning organizations, political parties, they will give the reason of freedom of expression whenever you curb on this such misinformation. And you need a high hand in states also, like Yogi Adityanath.
The second question is, how can we as a nation reach out to a stage where media houses put India first and above everything?
See, this is a very, very old ecosystem, Vinayak, right? Whoever has asked this question, this is a very, very old ecosystem nurtured in a certain way over years, right? And I'm sure you want to hear a small clipping of this journalist called, what's his name? Ashok Shrivastava. Have you heard this name? Ashok Shrivastava. He's quite a known journalist in DD. He does a daily
Yes,
9
sir.
o'clock.
Yes.
He does a daily 9 o'clock. It's called Do Took or something. Do Took. He does the Hindi show. He's quite a known journalist. He did on some conference on media. He told a very categorical, very smart thing, and he said that phenomena was even active at Atal Bihari's time, right? He said when media used to travel with any prime minister, right? Many of them get a space inside the same aircraft where prime minister used to travel, previous prime ministers, right? From Indira Gandhi's days to Rajiv Gandhi's days to Manmohan Singh days, right? Many of them get a separate flight if they're not accommodated. There they get a super 5-star, 7-star hotel room, right? They got an amazing newsroom, news desk set up there where the fridges are filled with beers and expensive liquors, right? They'll get one vehicle to each journalist to roam in Australia or a Dubai or a US, wherever the prime minister is traveling. And prime minister used to have like one meeting in morning and maybe one meeting in the evening, right? The whole day is free for sightseeing, right? Now come the time where you don't get any flight ticket. If you want to come, ask your company, ask a news channel, let alone any beer. There'll be a printer there and a tea machine. If you want, have tea to be awake. Prime Minister is doing 11 meetings a day, so there is no time for sightseeing, right? So who will not be pissed off, right? Who will not be pissed off? So Vinayak, this is a very old ecosystem, and ecosystems take time to change. So and and the other side had governance for too long a time. Now it's a settling time. If such settling time will last for like 1 or 2 decades, and then a kind of a level playing field will come, right? When people will find merit in reporting what is happening. And now social media is also kind of a leveler, right? Mohammed Zubair kind of made a joker out of him, right? Oh, I did not fact check. Oh my God. Then, boy, you said you are a co-founder of a big fact checker company, which is a part of an international fact checking network, which is used by a lot of social media companies, and you can't fact check a mute video. Come on. And that too, like in Loni, and you live in Delhi. It's not that you live some miles away, meaning you are biased already, right? So now I think the social media is also democratizing a lot of these things, right? And a misinformation cannot survive for long, right? Though in the same breath, I want to say that a news and the clarification, they don't have the same reach. If news reaches 100 people, clarification only reaches 20 people, right? So I think that's their purpose also. So if Sivanj is going with a white t-shirt, they will throw a muck on him, right? And if even if Shivanj will clean, some muck will stick, right? And that's their purpose. They'll keep throwing, keep throwing, keep throwing. Some muck will stick, right? Because even if he uses like what is that, surf or whatever the best is coming in the market, some stain will remain, and that's the purpose. That okay, let some people get confused, right? And I think whoever is being blamed should take them to task. Let's say in this Ayodhya, that land confusion that they've created a couple of days back, the trust, the VHPs are coming in trust, go to the court and make sure even if they apologize, don't no, don't take their apology. If you file a 100 crore suit, take the 100 crore from them. Remember in 2013-14, Kejriwal used to show some random papers and say, oh, I have everybody's name, right? right? And then Arun Jaitley, he passed away. Arun Jaitley filed a defamation case, and Kejriwal wrote an apology, public a written apology in the court. Kejriwal said, Gadkari filed a defamation case. Kejriwal came back again and filed a defamation apology, written apology in the court, right? Because so I think you have to repeatedly take them to court, repeatedly, because see, taking them court to a little longish exercise. Everyone doesn't take that. Arun Jaitley is a lawyer; he understands this. Nitin Gadkari is a senior politician; he understands it. But everyone should take this pain and take all these liars to task. Right? Or you need people like Yogi Adityanath who can take them to task very often, very often, very often. Otherwise, they will keep doing this mischief. For them, this is fun. It's like a kid's fun, right? Like I'll slap someone and run away, or we'll knock somebody's. Remember in hostels, we used to knock somebody's door and run away, right? And then giggle, right? They are into this habit now, right? So somebody I have to whack them and make sure that no, this is not done. You will not be allowed to spread misinformation in my country, right? Yeah, I think that only I can offer at this point.
Sir, I had a personal question. Just as we remember, during the times of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, you used to have these press conferences on a weekly or daily basis conducted by Pramod Mahajan, which used to debunk all the fake news and all the queries. So, do you feel that the Modi government has failed in this failed in this initiative to debunk fake news by not appointing a separate panel of effective communicators, for example, Smriti Irani or any other spokesperson who can debunk such fake news and bring quality information to the citizens?
Uh, Vinayak, I don't think so, because currently also we have like a battery of. I think one of you, the speaker is on. If you can mute the speaker, yeah. Yeah, I think still we have a battery of party spokesmen on every topic. Either they will go on multiple TV channels. Now we have like multiple TV channels in Hindi and English and regional languages. So they will go. Every state have their own spokesmen for their vernacular languages, and they go on TV channels and debunk. And also sometimes Samit Patra, someone like Nupur Sharma will do a press conference also, right? But again, these days this fake news is like so many that you are just coming out of one fake news and then you'll encounter two more, right? So the intensity of fake news has become also quite high, right? See, I see it also a war between the people who are winning elections and people who are losing elections continuously, right? For them, they have lost hope that they can win elections, because earlier they were winning election in a very easy way. How? Because there was hardly any information coming out, right? In the pre-social media era, or a pre-private channels era also, right? And when there are hardly one newspaper, two newspaper, only Doordarshan, to today, when there are multiple sources of information, when people are informed, right? So just by putting some caste combination, just by putting some religion or combination, right, you can't win election. You have to really do work. Remember Shekhar Gupta's bite, the Prince Shekhar Gupta, after the 2019 victory, they were in a round table that why Modi won. They said no, I think we can't discount the fact that whichever village I went to, people got the policies. Someone got a gas, someone got a toilet, someone got a house. That's happening really. You can't counter that with narrative, right? See, if I'm not, for a person to vote, he doesn't need a narrative. He has seen, either he has seen a road or he has not seen a road. He has seen electricity or not seen electricity. He has seen a good law and order, he has not seen a law and order. He doesn't need a narrative to understand that, right? Yeah. So we, the urban people, get too swayed by, oh my God, this is happening, oh my God, that's happening. But I think I'll see the rural people are far more wiser to swayed by this narrative. They see, is my life improved in this 5 years compared to last 5 years? They may not even compare with a manifesto to my mind. They will say, oh, they've promised moon, they've only given me stars, right? they will largely say, what was my life 5 years back? What is my life now? If there is an incremental change, if there's a minor change, they may still go back or they will do whatever they want to do. But if there is significant change, right? And there are significant change in many things, and people will appreciate that. That's why they're voting by their feet, right? Because if you say, oh, because Narendra Modi is a good orator, oh, because they say keep Ram Mandir, that's why they keep winning. People are not stupid. I'm not saying Ram Mandir is not an issue, but Ram Mandir is issue among various issues. People want development. People want their culture and identity to be intact, right? All of that, both are together, right? And all of that has to be done. So to my mind, Vinayak, to your short question, I think that's happening. Counter is happening through social media, through TV press conferences. But again, the fake news factory is also too fast. And at times, by the time we hear the clarification, there are 3 more fake newses that are available. So yeah, I'll offer this. Yeah.
So the next question is, how can we battle the misinformation that spreads through Facebook and WhatsApp groups, even after being debunked?
So yeah, I mean, that's why I told you that it's almost like I told you, right? Shivansh, white shirt, white t-shirt. If you throw muck, some muck will still. You're right. Information, the first information, if reaches 100, the clarification when I will reach only 20-25 people. And a lot of people have consumed the first misinformation and considered that as the final news, and they will never reach or they will never even access the clarification. In a newspaper, clarification, even if at all it comes on some 4th, 5th page, right? And I may not even encounter the WhatsApp of the clarification. So that's the real threat we are living in. That's why and the other side knows it very well. That's why they put a confusion and run away. It's like a typical hit and run case, right? So yeah, that's the danger. That's why consume every information with whatever clarity you can.
Sir, I have a question that why don't we have a law of privacy like in USA and Italy? We have a law that you cannot enter in hospitals, in crematoriums. Why don't we have such laws?
I think now Indian governments will increasingly become conscious of this. I think we have never realized that the journalism will go down to such a level, and I'm sure, like we are taking Twitter to task, we are making a rule that how they can enjoy the intermediary status, and I'm sure such things should come of like privacy of grief. I don't want to be disturbed in my grief, right? Yeah, you're right, Shivansh.
And sir, another question is that while they were spreading biased news, misleading news, don't you think that this mentality of Indians of Western approval is also very problematic, even after the 70 years of the independence? We
So
believe.
you're right, Shivansh. There is always approval of a white skin or whatever color it is of Western approval, and this is the way through our curriculum, through what are the movies being made, through what are the books being written, are we are made to believe this, right? So someone like nothing against Satyajit Ray, he made nice movies, but all of those not gang, so I should not use the word gang. All of those filmmakers will move a movie on the poverty of India, never on the celebration of India. So let's say I heard that a movie is coming on 1983's World Cup victory, right? We won World Cup in 1983. Why we are making the movie now, right? Because that was a celebration. Why the movie was not making on the celebration? I heard that there was a huge celebration in India, far more bigger than the recent Dhoni victory, a World Cup, right? Because when Dhoni won, we were doing a lot of great things in life. Our software companies were going abroad. We were winning a lot of other things also. But in 1983, we were like a god-forsaken country. Then nothing good was happening in the country. And that World Cup victory was the only thing we could have imagined. Oh my God, we can win a World Cup? Oh my God, right? But why there's not a movie being made, right? So that is being how we are, and that's why today even the sense of jubilation is like, so when a Narendra Modi goes to New York and or goes to US and get a huge crowd, when a local politician will envy, can I gather this much crowd in my own country, right? And that makes you feel proud, right? And when a lot of your Indian companies, when a Google CEO and a Microsoft CEO and a Mastercard CEO, all of them will be Indian, that should make you proud, right? And first of all, they by their own merit they are becoming what they're becoming. But again, now through social media, through we are getting to know it, right? So a feeling of pride. And also in the past, let's say Anisha, if I tell you that your grandfather was a very bad man, right? He was a very bad man. He was a big thief, and his father, oh my god, can't even talk. How will you feel? You feel, oh my god, I am like part of some very bad family, right? So that's the way we are made to believe. Oh, you're part of this civilization where there's sati pratha, where there's caste system, where there's this, that, right? And you hardly invented anything. Whatever scientific discoveries there happened in West, and you are this like some lowly society, right? And then you realize that from algebra to surgery, they stolen from us. But only thing, because we were under attack for 1,000 years almost, right? We were in the process of survival, right? Not in the process of invention. So what a very thriving civilization that we have, I think we were just trying to maintain it, right? So you're right, Shivansh. There is a tendency of Western approval that we all have, and we should shed it as soon as we can. And it's happening now. And this my presentation, that why, and they want to maintain this Western hegemony. They want to maintain it, that okay, how can you develop a vaccine, right? Still for Covaxin, they're not giving a travel approval. I'm sure you know that they're not giving international travel approval. They will give it eventually, but they will make you bleed. They will make you show 1,000 documents and all of that, right? So India as a country has to show its spine, and at some point they will bend for sure, because they can't survive without India as a market, and India also as an innovator, which India is becoming very fast. Yeah.
All right, we have received some comments and questions in the chat box. I don't
read it for me if anything important.
So I will read it for you.
Yeah.
I don't particularly have a question, but I just want to say that it all boils down to politics and money. Controversy will always bring up attention, and attention will always bring in money. So nowadays, the consumer of the news needs to be aware.
I think I also quite agree with Punisher, if that's the right name, right? That I think whenever I watch a news, I know whether I'm watching NDTV or whether I'm watching Z News, whether I'm using Wire or I'm using Op India. I'm aware, but everyone might not be aware. Everyone might not be aware, right? So you're right. A consumer has to be. So now it should be more work on the consumer awareness side, right? Because at the brink of legality, the thoughts will come from both the sides, and that's fine. I'm fine with that, until and unless they become illegal, until they become vicious, right? That will keep happening. So I agree with that. The user has to become even more aware. Yeah.
Prabhas had pointed out that there's a law in IPC 297 for privacy. That was in accordance to Shivanshu's question.
Okay.
And we have another question from Aditi Jha. In fact, there are two. Sir, as we all know that media houses form one of the pillars for democracy, then why do they spread rumors and not rational news? What has led to this change, and how can we make sure that whatever news we are consuming is not a rumor and a factual information?
Aditi, I'll disagree. You're right. They are one of the important pillars of how our society and politics is organized. But I will not agree with that. That you have read what has led to this change. I'll say this was always like this. Earlier, we were not going the counterfactual, and some of the facts which we assumed as a fact from his history, they were never facts, right? Because the counter never came, because there was only one Doordarshan, there were only two newspapers, there was only one All India Radio. Whatever Indira Gandhi spoke, she spoke, right? And we thought that the gospel's truth, that's the Gita's truth. That's not the case. That's not the case. That's what I'm saying. So rumors and misinformation was part of the polity always. Only thing now we are lucky to identify it. But now, because of social media, it's a double-edged sword. The pace of misinformation is also doubled, right? So the pace of counter is also should double, right? So yeah. So what can we do? We can't do much. There'll be laws like the new IT rules for digital media. INB has some rules, and then I think the counter information, and I think as Punisher said, that user has to be aware, the consumer has to be aware, what is he consuming, what is he reading, NDTV or Republic TV or Z News. He has to be aware, right? There should be sites which can tell us which side is reporting what on the same news, right? Like an aggregator of news, right? You write aggregator with some qualifiers, right? Maybe that is needed. Yeah. Anything else?
So I had one more question. This is another question. I had to ask you, what will be your best reply to those people who use this argument that India is emerging as an authoritarian nation, just like North Korea and China, in terms of uh, so-called subverting these social media companies like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram and Twitter.
I think whoever has said that not even aware that Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Google, they're facing multiple litigation in European countries, multiple litigation in United States of America, from where they have faced multiple trials on privacy, on data privacy, on their algorithms, all of that. So they should educate them first, right? See, I have done in my life almost 2,000 TV debates, right? In all the leading channels, English and Hindi both. In every channel, I got 2 3 people who are opposing my argument, and they all are alive. They are all are None of them are in jail, right? And this is happening from last 7 years. So this is a fictitious, so that it's a cover fire they are giving to their fake news. So that if you kill my fake news, if you put me to law, I will say, oh, the freedom of expression is not there, right? So this is just of their instrument. Don't get trapped in their instrument. This is one of their, again, one more very sophisticated instrument, very smart, a cunning instrument. Oh, India is becoming, and then they will, some freedom house will say India is becoming what? Autocratic democracy. I don't know what does it mean even, right? Because in their own country, how American election happens this time, oh my God, when you see those ballots are traveling in zip bags in cars, and they are commenting on Indian democracy, where now even every electoral machine has a VVPAT, and either VVPAT are matching to 100% in all the elections, right? Because a lot of their friends in India are not winning. There is a left ecosystem globally. There is a pro-right ecosystem globally. The left ecosystem, which is one in US, but they're not getting ground in India. It's a global left ecosystem which is trying to push these terminologies, right? And I think that thanks to Greta Thunberg, she has done a great service by tweeting, and we got to know that this is a plan, right? And also thanks to George Soros, that in WEF, World Economic Forum, he said, I want to kill this feeling of nationalism, right? So with the money of George Soros and with the hard work of people like Greta Thunberg and the gang, I think at least we know that there is a concentrated effort on information, and we have to counter it with information.
So I don't think we have another question for us. So thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invite and sharing your valuable research and giving some facts about what was the reality during COVID and how the Western media manipulated it. But in the last, I want to ask a question to you that as a new group, can you suggest some improvements in our way? The work we are doing in our college, how can we improve Samvad?
I think first of all, you're doing a wonderful thing at this stage in life. In fact, I'll envy you guys. When I was of your age, we were hardly even conscious of what is left, what is right, what is happening. So that's very good. Keep doing it. I think regularity is, I think keep doing it. Like if you're doing every week, every month, with whatever frequency, increase the frequency. Keep doing it. Keep educating yourself. And one thing, if you can do, keep writing. All of you, keep writing. Not only Facebook post. Keep doing Facebook post and tweets for sure. Become influencers in yourself, right? I've seen a lot of young boys and girls have become influencers, but writing very sharp tweets, but writing very satirical tweets, by researching very interesting fact and tweeting about it, right? or keep long format also. Start a blog of this, start a website where you keep writing long pieces also. Writing is a very important activity. So, and write books. So start from tweeting to Facebooking on serious information, and counter. Don't hesitate. Don't feel shy. Don't feel, oh, this is a family group. Oh, this is my apartment group. This is my hostel group. Why to take a fight unnecessarily on this topic? You have to. Some of us has to become bad. We have to shed our goodness. And if you don't agree with the fact, you don't agree with the fact, right? And counter it. Don't take it on its face value, right? If you think of fake news is being spread under the garb of sophistication, under the garb of Shashi Tharoorish English, stop it there, and call it a shot, call it a spade, right? So keep doing that, keep doing more sessions. There are a lot of people who let me know if you want me to connect to someone. Luckily, because being coming on TV channels, I almost know everyone who you see on TV or on YouTube, so I can connect you with those. And normally people like to connect with the students. Try to get more students, because speakers want more students. They feel happy to talk to. So try to get larger audiences. Maybe Karunimal can organize it. You can broadcast it to some other groups also outside Karunimal also, so that they have wider audience. And I'm sure you are storing it out on YouTube anyways, right?
Yes, sir.
For later circulation also. That's a smart thing to do. Just keep doing that with continuity. Keep educating yourself. I think that's my suggestion.